Okay, everybody, please ask you silence your cell phones. We'll let Coach give an opening statement, then he'll take the questions.
Awesome to be back. This will be my third time here at the Touchdown Club. Great event. Get a lot of chance to see a lot of great people. I think the part that's been fun for me as a head coach is to obviously learn a lot of things about Arkansas, but also the dynamics about Little Rock, all the things that have gone into it, the game here at War Memorial, how much that means to people. To be able to recruit players from this area, to get notifications this morning. I think Hunter Henry just got named ESPN All-American, a kid that is from day one. If people knew the whole story, actually, when I got done with my opening press conference, the first player I called after getting back to my office was Hunter Henry. Got a chance to visit with him and his mom and his dad less than 15 minutes after getting out of that conference, and feeling good about where we were then, and then developed a relationship over the next couple months. And he was obviously a very, very well sought after young man, and to have him in our program now and to see him as a 255-pound man that really respects the game, the way it's played, and what we ask him to do is just awesome. And actually, the first time I was ever in Little Rock, ever in my entire life, was to see Martrell Spate, who obviously has done a lot of great things at Arkansas, but now I think the second game in a row now where he's been the leading tackler of the Redskins, and I'll talk to a couple of their scouts that have come through our organization here in the last couple weeks, and they were just blown away about what he's doing and what he's able to accomplish. And I've been going back and forth with him on Twitter, or on text and back and forth. Just you can tell his love for the game is not diminished, and is now doing some great things. So very excited about players, very excited about the presence, very excited to come back over here and play Toledo, who I think a lot of people are giving maybe the poo-poo, but Toledo scored over 50 points, I believe it was, in their bowl game. I've been very impressed with watching them on film during the course of last spring, this summer, obviously to tie in the Paisley concert, which I could stay for, but I got a job the next week to carry on with. I think my wife's going to stay behind and watch it, but it should be a great event, and hopefully an indication of a really, really good day. So with that, open it up for questions.
Coach, you had any camp surprises, any guys which kind of opened your eyes?
You know, I thought about that the other day. I would say that I'd recognize two freshmen, one a redshirt and one a true. The first one on offense, I knew Raleigh Williams was going to be good. I really liked his film. I liked the way he handled himself. You walk into that home and, mom and dad are exceptional people, and he's just raised in an environment. He's in a great school system, but it was a private school, so you never really know the competition. That he ran for 2,800 yards, but he's been probably truly one of the best surprises for us offensively, without a doubt. And then on the flip side of it, someone that's not really a surprise, but just we've never really seen him in action as much as we have as of late, is Santos Ramirez. He's a kid that we wanted to play a year ago. We had to redshirt him because of an injury situation, but has been impressive at the safety position, really where we needed it, because Josh Lydell is doing a great job. Rohan Gaines is having an exceptional spring or a senior camp, but to get Santos in there now playing the way he did is a nice surprise.
I think you stood in this same exact room 2 years ago, about a week and a half before your first game. Can you kind of compare the kind of, maybe not overall feeling, but just kind of reactions and comments you got then to kind of what you've been getting this summer and leading up the last couple weeks?
To be quite honest, that's probably, I'm not a great retention guy for moments like that. I tend to remember certain things, about where we were and how we were doing. I know that year I wanted to win for that senior class as bad as any senior class I've ever wanted to before. And unfortunately, we finished 3-9 and left a lot of empty hearts probably. But built the foundation for what we did a year ago at a 7-6 team that I, again, wanted those seniors to go out and be able to, talk about winning a championship, but they weren't able to do that, and did a lot of really good things to put us in the position we're in today. I know we get a lot of, notoriety right now, I guess would be the right way to say it. I saw yesterday the AP poll came out and had us, it was kind of, you look at where you've been and what you've done, and I've been at Iowa, I've been in Kansas State, I've been in Wisconsin, and it's the first time where I've kind of been ahead of all those places I've always been. To kind of see that and to know that you've had a hand in doing that is pretty cool. But we always say we're in the postseason publications more than preseason publications, so we'll see where we're at the end of the year.
What kind of role do you see Jonathan Williams playing on this team now this year?
Trey, he had a great quote. As you guys know that have interviewed Jay Will, he's just such an incredible. He's been sure beyond his years, but he basically said he wanted to. One of his goals this year coming into camp was to help lead this team, to success, and there's no reason that role has been diminished. So he's been out there. You know, he's had the surgery. He hasn't been in a lot of pain. He's got a little scooter. We give him a hard time. He's driving around all the time. And actually, another local product, Tyler Colquitt, sprained his ankle the other day. So those two guys are on matching scooters. We were giving him a little bit of a heat about starting a little bike club. But he just outgoing, engaging, has started that road to recovery. I think some of you guys probably saw it. You know, he's in there at 6 a.m. the day after working out. He just flipped the switch like that. I displayed some white shoes last night. Of course, he's been one of the ones that's been beating me up for 2 years to do that. And he was up there looking at him. I said, man, the next time you put on a pair of shoes, you're going to be doing your own Nike contract yourself. And he just kind of smiled because I really do think that what he has waiting for him at the end of the rainbow is going to be pretty special. I thought, you know, he was, from the NFL people I've talked to, he was going to be a guy that was probably, if not the first or second back taken in the draft, you know, as a senior player. And I don't think this injury, because of the type of player he is, will diminish that too much.
Some people have pointed out in your first 2 years that you're 0-6 in games decided by 7 points or less in the SEC. I think 0-7 overall. What do you attribute that to first 2 years, and what would change that record? You know,
3-9, 7-6 is by no means a place that we want to end up. It's more of a launching point. And I think before you can learn how to win those type of games, you got to have the faith that you can do it. Those critical moments are mostly based off of confidence more so than anything else. So I think to get our guys to understand that they can do it, how to do it. As coaches, we've probably got to be at the forefront of it a little bit better. I know offensively and defensively, we have to score more points in the fourth quarter, and defensively, we got to hold them out of the end zone. That's a pretty easy one to figure out. But I could see it coming. I think our guys understand it, and it's going to be fun to watch it take place.
On that note, the SEC Network showed the A&M game yesterday and the Alabama game. My daughter was watching. She's like, wait, I was at that A&M game.
Yeah.
We lost that. They're up 2 touchdowns. How'd they lose?
Yeah, tell me about it.
Well, that's a good question. But is that still in the mind of the players? Is that something y'all push?
You know, I know it will want to go to play in that week just because you'll watch the film and see the gist of it. But I think our players probably, I've had all my coaches get up and give a talk about something that means something close to their heart. One of our coaches put up 4 scores from a games a year ago that could have flipped our record from 7-6 to 11-2, and just about when it was basically in the fourth quarter where we had a lead. One game we were tied, obviously, but I could see the players' reactions and realize and then we made kind of an emphatic point after that was just that's how close you are, you know, and you go through all the same things that all those other teams go through. Why not make it success? And again, I think you have to have success and learn how to walk before you can run. And now, you know, we've begun to hit stride. And I'm not saying we're sprinting yet, but we're getting closer.
Is there a point, have you thought about these first couple of games where if you get to a certain point, BA comes out and you put Austin in?
You know what? It's a great thing to talk about, but not really. I think you as a coach, you know when that's going to happen during the course of each game. But you know, our focus really today, we started our first day of classes. So today, by NCAA rules, I got to give them a day off. You know, so today is their day off. We'll resume back to practice tomorrow. We'll put in UTEP scouting reports tomorrow afternoon, not only from offense, defense, but all 4 phases of the kicking game we'll install this week. We'll still do a lot of situations during practice. It'll be Arkansas versus Arkansas, just because you hopefully have one of the SEC best offenses going against one of the best SEC defenses, and you can't put a price tag on that competition. So we'll do that a little bit more, but we'll definitely hone in on UTEP and what we feel we need to do to win that game.
Have you seen enough in 2.5 weeks to tell you that you do now have a passing game that can stretch the field, take a little load off the running game? You have receivers that can stretch it and a quarterback that can now get it out there.
You know, I think that's a great thing for people to write about and talk about, but it's really the ability to have success and move the chains for our offense. For other offenses where, you know, you look to try and trick them and go fast and make people break down, our offense is based more on execution. If it's 3rd and 4, we just need 5, you know, really 4.5. So there are some things that I think get me excited. I think Dominic Reed is a guy that can get down the field in a hurry. So he's not only good on routes that go down the field, but ones that go across the field and ones that start short and go long. So I think that's important for us to be able to grab a hold of. I do like the fact that BA has a lot of really good players around him now, you know, so the ability to throw or not throw the football in the past was was obviously based on the ability to have success throwing the ball. It's one thing to be able to throw it, but you got to be able to catch it. And I think at this point we've got a lot more confidence in that being able to take place than ever before since I've been here.
Have you spoken with your younger quarterbacks since adding the new quarterback?
Yeah. You know, I don't know how much people knew this or not, but I actually had brought 2 other quarterbacks on campus and offered them scholarships during the course of summer that were transfer quarterbacks. And I had spoken to those guys prior to those quarterbacks being on campus in Hawaii, so there really wasn't much surprise to them. None of them had been a redshirt freshman, so obviously to bring in youth like that, I was trying to. What you really want to do as a coach is you want to have a quarterback in every class. It's just what it is, and I knew going into the next year, you know, as a head coach, you got to be a couple years out in advance. I'd always hoped and prayed that you would have 4 scholarship quarterbacks to go into a season, and I'd only be sitting at 3 right now. Obviously, we got Cole Kelly. I can't say it. A freshman quarterback that could come in as a redshirt, but right now, you know, you just want to make sure that you have enough people in the race. I ran into this problem when I was at Wisconsin. We had a situation where I had a quarterback tear his ACL for the second time. I had a quarterback break his collarbone, and another quarterback basically have kind of a freak sickness and illness set in, and it left me with 1 healthy quarterback, 2 with a transfer, and it was a very scary season. It was Russell Wilson's year, and if I didn't have him transfer in, we would have been playing with a redshirt freshman quarterback that was not in any capacity to win a football game at the level that we're asking. And so I don't want to, I've said this all along, and it's what I use to explain to the quarterbacks and their parents, is I'm not going to leverage 120 young men, in addition to my coaching, my staff, my university, to just have few numbers at quarterback. You can't do it with, you know, I don't think you do it with 3, and then if heaven forbid anything happened, all of a sudden you're down to 2. It's just too scary of a scenario, and that's why right now you get to 4 scholarship quarterbacks. You feel really good about where we're at next year.
Last year the talk was Auburn. This year you get to ease in before you get that first SEC game.
Mm-hmm.
Like the way the schedule sets up.
You know, you don't have a choice. You like the schedule every year the way it sets up because it's the one that you got. So I think I understand what you're saying. Last year, the pressure of playing not only a conference team but a league team, you know, a SEC West team that we battle a lot with in recruiting. That was a huge emphasis to that, but I really didn't have a say in that matter. You know, that was something that the ADs worked out, and the SEC network was a big push behind that. So I think this year to have the schedule we have laid out in front of us, I like the way it lays out. I really do. I like the fact that I believe we're the only school besides Tennessee that bye week comes in week 7 of the season, which is right in the middle of the year. So you know, strategically, you can't ask for it to set up any better. We kind of last year got spoiled with the 2 bye weeks, and the way it kind of went was a 5, a 4, and a 3 week schedule for us. So this year it's a little bit different, but I do like the way it's laying out right now.
Preseason rankings, I mean, I know City don't really kind of look at them that much, but you take them as kind of as a point of personal pride that people are kind of taking note of what you're doing, and how do you want your guys handling it, embracing it, ignoring it? You
know, you got to be in the conversation. I know that. You know, even Jeff obviously is on a huge chair sitting as this college football playoff and all that goes into it, but you have to be in discussion. I think a lot about preseason rankings. There's so much perception, and I learned this firsthand. My first year, we weren't rated in the top 25. I think we were rated I remember getting an article where someone rated the 120 whatever teams there were, and we were like 68th or 78th in the country. We finished up 12-1 and in the top 5, and I remember it took us till week 7 or 8 to even get ranked because we went out. I think we were 3-0 or 4-0. We lost to Michigan in a heartbreaker, and then won the rest of our games. So after you lose, it takes a while to get back into that conversation. So it's really kind of silly. I think it's much better what the CFP is doing now, where they really take a great look at who's losing, how they've lost, who they're losing to. I think it's just a lot better scenario. So to get the preseason rankings to be where we are now, I was kind of excited to be, ranked ahead of where I've been at previously. So to kind of take ownership, and that was a lot of fun.
Time for a couple more.
18 to 20, is that fair for where you guys are at, you think?
You know what? I believe I have the best team in the country, so that's just how I'm working. So I mean, that's just how I've always thought, and I don't think there's any way to. I think you're selling yourself short if you don't. I did make a point to our guys that we're ranked 18, and that says there's 17 teams in front of us by what the AP thinks. But on the same account, there's probably 40 teams to 50 teams behind us that can beat us any given day. So it's up to you to take the challenge of the weekly preparation. I think our guys know that.
Alex has been getting 15, 16 carries his first 2 seasons. What kind of load can he handle? Have y'all set that? I know every team's different, but
Yeah.
what do you think he can do?
No, that's been designed. I mean, that's what he's gotten in the past. I think the great thing is, no one wanted to see, obviously, the situation pop up. Jay Will was going to be a tremendous asset and a blessing to us, but we're probably one of the few teams in the country that could take a hit of that caliber and not really alter what we've done. Alex is a guy that, if we got I would just look at it this way: you got a 20-play team, so you got to have 80 plays in your game plan. 40 in the first half, 40 in the second half. Sometimes it'll be down in the lower 60s. Sometimes it might get in the 90s, depending on how well we score and how well we play defense. But in the past 2 years, the formula had worked out. We'd like to have Alex between 15 to 20 carries, targeted runs where we put the ball in his hands, and I don't see that changing. Just because he's been so successful, he has the ability to take a play the distance if it breaks. He's probably faster now than he's ever been. I think Cody Walker could be a 15, 20 play carry guy as well. And Raleigh Williams, I don't know about game 1, but you would definitely hope by game 2 or 3 that he could be in that 12 to 15 man mark, because he does catch the ball really well as well. So he could get involved in that. So if you have 45 plays assigned to your top 3 running backs, then you got another 35 plays where you're going to play. Hunter Henry deserves 10 targeted throws. I mean, he does. Keon Hatcher deserves 10 targeted throws. I think we got Dominique Reed and some other receivers now that you say, hey, you want to get the ball in their hands, 6 to 10 times a game. All of a sudden, there's only so many balls out there, and it's fun to work through that formula.
How do you think conditioning will play a role in the first 2 games? Mid-afternoon, it could be hot.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a really hot first week, and then it kind of died down a little bit over the last week, and obviously today's a nice day. We've been kind of changed up. We went 3 or 4 at night. Most of them have been right in the middle of the afternoon, which I'm glad we did now because we got a lot of good work on those hot days under the sun, and hopefully have got ourselves prepared.
Okay, thanks everybody.
Thank you.